Hi guys. Okay, in language arts today, we are continuing to talk about the person that we're celebrating and we have a holiday for next Monday. Remember who we talked about yesterday? Dr. Martin Luther King. Yeah, that's right. Now this is a photograph that someone took of him. Have you had your photo taken before? Yeah, I'm sure you have. Well, this is a photograph of him, okay? Now remember, the story that I read you yesterday is not full of actual photos. They're drawings, remember? And we talked about the front cover of the book. And the front cover of the book, there's the title. And it has the author and the illustrator. The author wrote the words, and the illustrator drew the pictures. And so what we see on the front is a picture that somebody has drawn. And that's supposed to look like Dr. Martin Luther King, okay? And he's sitting there talking to some children, okay? Okay, now, yesterday we talked about some special words. One of the words was dream. You remember that? So in the story, I want you to think about and listen to the word dream, because that was one of the special words. I'm trying to find them over here. Okay, so we talked about dream, and that's when you have a hope or a wish, okay? And peaceful, when everything is calm and nice without fighting. That's the way I like my house to be. It's not always like that sometimes. Solve, when you can figure out the answer to a problem. You can solve a problem. And talent, something you are really good at. Okay, so those are the words. Now, especially the word dream. Now, yesterday you did your homework on peaceful, ways that you can help the world and your house be more peaceful. Well, today I want to talk about the word dream, okay? I want you to listen for it. Happy birthday, Martin Luther King. And here's the what? Title page. Good job. Making sure I remember to do all my things. Okay. Here we go. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15th, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. His parents loved him very much. Martin Luther King had the same name as his father, except for one thing. His father was called Martin Luther King Sr. Martin was called Martin Luther King Jr. So some of you may have a junior after your name, and then your father could be senior, or maybe your dad and grandpa. Martin went to elementary school, which is like going to primary school, like what we're at now, and then going to elementary school, okay? So this is kind of like getting ready for elementary school where we are. He went to elementary school, high school, and college in Atlanta. He was a good student. Later, he went to divinity school in Pennsylvania. Remember divinity school? It's like more college after graduating college. So he could be a preacher or a minister or priest, however you want to say it. Martin became a pastor, just like his dad, at the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. They were both called Reverend. The Reverend Martin Luther King Sr. and the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. There they are in the church. Martin's job as a minister was to help people in need. He visited sick people in the hospital and made them feel better. So there he went to see someone. And I know we can tell it's a hospital because look at the bed. The pictures always give us clues. And look, they have cards and flowers there. Now she doesn't have anything like an IV or anything in her arm, but you can tell it's a hospital. I'm trying to go back and look. And here, by looking at the stained glass and looking at the robes and the stoles they have on, you can tell. And they have a podium. And the people sitting here in the congregation, they're at a church. So looking at the pictures helps us understand. And look at all these things. What are those? Those are books. Books and books. And look, there's papers, and he's writing. So that means he's studying and he's learning. Yeah, so it's wonderful, and it's really important for us to look at the pictures and talk about the pictures. And here he is with his dad. Look, what are they playing? Football. They're throwing the football around together. Have you done that before? How interesting. And here we know that Dr. King is a baby with his parents. Yeah. Okay, we kind of had to play catch up. Okay, so he asked people not to fight with each other. He said that there were peaceful ways to solve problems. And here, these two boys are here, and he's leaning in going, why don't you shake hands and get along? Yeah. So he's having them get along. And like his father, Martin led people in prayer and song. Where is he right now? Back in the church. Yeah, you can tell he has the robe on and the stole, that long piece of material around his neck. And the people are sitting there. Looks like they're praying or singing. All their mouths are open, they're probably singing. And they're sitting on pews in the church. And they're dressed up nice. Some churches do that, some people, when they go to church, dress more casual. The Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. is famous because he helped our country change some of its laws. Remember, a law is like a rule. Once there was a law in some places that said only white people could sit in the front of a bus and that black people had to sit in the back. And here it's showing you that. Here's the bus, and here's like a close-up of it. And it's showing you white people in front and black people in the back. Or maybe this is the one where, no, this is the one, this talks about Rosa Parks. That's supposed to be her, where she helped to change the rules, the laws. Martin Luther King said this law needed to be changed. Rosa Parks and other people helped him change it. Now all people can sit in any empty seat on the bus. Once there were laws in some places that said that African Americans could use certain restaurants and could only use certain drinking fountains. Martin Luther King and many other people helped change the laws. Now all people can share the same restaurants and drinking fountains. Yeah, remember we talked about that? It says white and that says colored. That's so horrible. And now this is a water fountain nowadays. Now at school, we can't use water fountains because of COVID right now, but when we do have them open, it's like this. Anybody can use any water fountain. Yeah, that's the way it should be. Once there was a law in some places that said that black children and white children couldn't go to school together. Martin Luther King and other people, including many very brave children, had this law changed too. Now black children and white children and any colored skin children can go to school together. And look, that's a piece of equipment from a playground, and they're playing on it together. Some are climbing on it, some are hanging from it, some are just standing there. This little boy's running around it, and they're sitting over beside it. Looks like there's sand or dirt down here. And they're playing on a playground together. Martin Luther King had a special talent, that's one of our special words, for leadership. When he spoke, people listened. Poor people, rich people, white people, black people, and people from all around the world listened when Martin Luther King spoke. Many helped him work, march, sing, and pray for justice. Justice is a fancy word for being treated, it's being fair, being right. You know, things being made fair and right. And here they're marching. It's called a protest. And they're marching. They're not throwing or hitting or screaming. Look, their mouths are closed. They're just walking quietly, but their arms are holding each other's arms. So they know that they're together. They're united. They're doing this because they all believe in it. In the summer of 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. gave the most famous speech of his life. He gave it outdoors to 250,000 people who had come to Washington, D.C. to ask the president for jobs and freedom for black people. In his speech, Martin Luther King said that he had a dream. His dream was that people everywhere would learn to live together without being mean to one another. What was his dream? Remember, a dream in this story is talking about a hope or a wish. Now, we can dream at nighttime when we're sleeping or taking a nap. We can close our eyes and dream. But this dreaming is, oh, I hope, I wish, I dream of all of us being in our classroom together. That's my dream. I dream of all of us having a fun year in pre-K, okay? That's also a dream. His dream was that we would all live together without anyone being mean to one another. That's a pretty awesome dream, isn't it? Yeah, pretty amazing. And this is a famous building. This is called the Washington Monument. It's still there in Washington, D.C. I haven't been up in it. I went to Washington, D.C. one time. And this is called the Reflecting Pool. Yeah. And he's standing in front of the Lincoln Memorial. That's all in Washington, D.C. And this covered in people. All these people were there. I was not there. I was not alive yet. That was before me. Martin Luther King Jr. was shot and killed in 1968. Because he loved poor people so much, he was given a special funeral in Atlanta, Georgia, where he was born. His body was put in a simple farm cart and pulled slowly by 2 mules to a cemetery. That's a graveyard. That's where you bury somebody. Thousands of people walked behind Martin in a sad, loving parade. And here's the cemetery. Okay? And this is the place where they have buried him. This is a picture of what it looks like. I've never been there. On his gravestone were carved 3 beautiful words. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. And these are a picture of some people who have gone to see his spot where he's buried. And then there's a wreath there. Yeah, it's very, very special. Now, Martin Luther King wanted people to be able to go to places together, share food together, and love one another in peace, because he worked so hard for freedom and helped so many people gain it. We honor him every year on his special day. We call this day Martin Luther King Day, and we say to him, Happy birthday, Martin Luther King. Oh, look, there's a birthday cake. Now, they really don't have candles for him to blow out, but they have a candle so they can remember and celebrate his birthday, because he's so special and so amazing, all the things he did to help change our world. Okay, so now if you remember, we talked about a whole bunch of things in this story. Let's think about the 5 W's. Who was in this story? Martin Luther King. And it showed his parents, it did, and his dad was a minister. It said he was born in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, what was the story about? The story was about Martin Luther King and why he was special, why he is important for us to remember. What did he do? He helped to change laws. He helped to change the rules in America about your skin color, telling you where you could go and could not go, where you could eat, where you could go to school, where you could drink water, all those things. So that's why we remember him. Who, what, when? Well, he was born in 1920 something, 29, 27, I can't remember. My mom was born in 27. So he was born in 29, okay. And Atlanta, Georgia, who, what, when, and he died in 1968. So I was a year old. And I know you're figuring out how old I am. I know, thank you. And so, so that was when, and he changed laws when he was alive. He was able to do it by being kind, not by yelling or screaming, but by being kind and peaceful. So who? Martin Luther King. What did he do? He helped to change laws and change people's minds about being treated fairly and being peaceful and having a dream, okay? What? When? Okay. Born in 1929, he died in 1968, and he, during his lifetime, helped to change laws, okay? Where? In America. And he had the big famous speech up in Washington, D.C. called I Have a Dream. Yeah. And why? Why do we learn about him? Who, what, when, where, why? Why do we learn about him? We learn about him because, why? Because it's his birthday, okay, but because he helped to change the world. He helped the world become a more peaceful place. He helped the world to change, to start seeing that everybody is equal. We're all the same. It doesn't matter what we look like. We're all the same. Yeah, and we can eat anywhere, go anywhere, be anything. Yeah, it's wonderful. Okay, so your homework today is to look at this page, Martin's big words. And you're going to look at these words, and some words are Martin's words. They're the happy words. And the other words that are the sad words are the words that Mr. Martin Luther King did not say. So love, that's one of his words. What about separate? No, he didn't want us to separate. What about hate? Did he talk about hate? No, that's not a happy word. War, fighting, no. Peace, yes, that's one of his words. What about fight? No, that's not one of his words. Talk, yes, he said to talk. What about together? Yes, to come together. Yes. So you put his words right here, glue them under his happy face. I drew a happy face. And then the other words, the sad face words, go over here. Okay? Take a picture, send it to me. Okay, guys, keep up the good work. Bye-bye.